why you should design the person you are becoming first, and then reverse engineer your daily actions to have the biggest impact possible. In this video, I want to talk to you about my LIGHT framework and why it is so important to focus on the person that you are becoming rather than focusing on the other business goals such as making money or other business related KPIs. So first of all, what does it mean to have your identity and to know your identity? Well, first of all, if you don't have an identity and you don't know who you are as a person, you are essentially subjected to your own human whims and desires, and that means that when you are faced with any kind of pressure, whether this pressure is subconsciously from the culture or the environment that you're in, or whether it is you faced with a situation where you make a decision, you have two paths in the road and you choose one over the other, all of without having a clear solid foundation of who you are as a person, who you are becoming and your identity, you will be subjected to these short-term whims and influences that pull you in different directions. It's much harder to resist. When you do have an identity, you have a solid rock and a solid foundation. You know the person that you are becoming, you know the person that you want to become, you have your solid foundation which you can anchor yourself to in the present moment. So when you do naturally drift away over periods of time, you can stop, take a step back, recalibrate, and you know where your North Star is so you can move back towards it. Without it, you will naturally drift and drift and drift. Just think for an example, just think for a moment that imagine you're on a boat and you look back a couple of hundred years when the sailors navigated by stars. Well, they used to use the North Star as a way to calibrate where they are and to know their position. Well, let's imagine that the sailors didn't know about the stars, or they couldn't interpret what they see in the sky to use as markers to help their progress. They go out to sea, they sail around a bit, and they just look at the horizon. And well, whenever you approach the horizon, it just keeps expanding into infinity. So what do you think happens? So they have no compass, they have no navigational tools, they look at the horizon. Well, naturally over time, with the tides and the wind and everything, it's going to blow them off course. And they may only realise that they're off course when the weather conditions have changed substantially because they've gone so far away from where they want to go. And in a case like that, how do you even recalibrate which way you're going? Because you don't know, you have no idea. And then essentially you're going to be out on the sea, floating and lost forever. Unless by a spark of luck, you manage to see land or you manage to see something to get yourself back on target. Point being, this applies in life and business too. Without having a solid foundation of your identity, who you are becoming, your goal, what you are hoping to achieve, you will spin around in circles in life and you won't make progress, and you'll find that you're working long hours, you're putting all the time and effort and resources into something, but you're not actually making meaningful progress, which is an extremely common story and something that I personally experienced myself in my former marketing agency, because I didn't have a North Star other than making money. There was no deeper reason or why I was doing what I was doing, other than to help clients make more money so I can make more money. Ultimately, that entire business failed, and I made a lot of mistakes. Fortunately, I've learned from some of them, which is how I built this framework here. So you need to know what your identity is and who you are becoming. And the way to do this is to anchor your identity in becoming Christ-like, in the pursuit of Christ-likeness. And the pursuit of Christ-likeness is to act out of love, integrity, generosity and gratitude, humble service, transformative excellence and efficiency. That's the framework that I've created. I call it LIGHT for short. And while this isn't exactly the full picture of pursuing Christ-likeness, it does give you something tangible to behave and to act and to follow, and to give you a guideline on what to do and how to behave. And so when you know what your identity is in becoming Christ-likeness, you can then cast your eternal vision. Your eternal vision then becomes your North Star. It focuses on having a kingdom impact. It prioritizes having a positive influence in people's lives and being a blessing to them over everything else. That becomes your North Star and what you want to prioritize and focus on in your goal and pursuit of becoming more Christ-like. So, say for example, I'm working with someone at the moment and they want to help people who struggle with overeating and weight loss. And so the first question that I asked was, what's your ultimate goal? And they couldn't really answer when I had a call with them. They had to go away and think about it. And so then I asked them, so what's the eternal vision? And I explained what the eternal vision means, where you're prioritizing impact over others. And I can't remember the details, but it was, I want to help this number of people overcome their bad eating habits and then lose weight and all the other reasons. And then, okay, so what this means is we now have a tangible number of people that you want to have a positive influence in their lives by helping them solve this pressing problem. By focusing on that alone and then operating in a way where you apply humble service, which is the H in light, where humble service is you will sacrifice your own present moment comforts or advantages that you can get in right now, so you can be a benefit and help someone else. Well, by doing this approach, you're going to help more people get more results without worrying about how much they're actually paying or the revenue targets of it. And the priority is to get the transformation and to help them achieve the result where they're going to be eternally grateful. And the point is, by focusing on this gives you the why beyond your why. And so, for example, if their goal was to help 10,000 people, well, it's quite easy then to reverse engineer. How can you achieve helping 10,000 people? Well, okay, what's your time frame? Okay, 10 years. So that means you want to try to help 1,000 people a year, just for numbers' sake. 1,000 people a year would be about 3 people a day. Okay, how can you help 3 people a day? And then you can reverse engineer the process without even thinking about the money to start off with. And the key here is that I came across a term in Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, and I'm not sure if he coined this or not, but he mentioned it in his book, which is called hyperintentionality. And the concept of hyperintentionality is that if you focus on something 100% and you really, really, really want to do something, you're much less likely to actually achieve it. And the best example would be that you're trying to sleep because you have to get up early in the morning and it's already past your bedtime, and you know you've got to be up in 7 hours and you need to be on your A game in the morning. And you're going to sleep? Probably not, because you're focusing on it, the stress hormones come up and you're less likely to do it. And the same is true in your business when it comes to generating revenue in order for your business to function and operate properly. So if you focus on something other than money, you focus on something beyond that, the person that you're becoming in the process, the number of people that you can have a positive influence on, the number of lives that you're going to transform, the number of seeds that you plant, without knowing what, if the seeds are going to grow or who might come along and harvest them later. When you focus on this, the chances are, if you have the right business systems in place and you have the right goals to help focus your aim along the way, you're going to make far more money than you could think possible as a result of prioritizing kingdom impact as well. And that is why it's so important to first design the person that you're becoming and what you want to achieve through the eternal impact, because not only will you prioritize having impact on as many people as possible, you're also going to make more money in the process as well as a result of doing this and having the right business systems and things in place as well. Another reason as well is because having an eternal vision on who you're going to become, especially if this is rooted in becoming Christ-like, what this gives you is it gives you internal motivation or intrinsic motivation, I forget what it's actually called, and it gives you accountability, because the reality is when you're doing the mundane tasks in business, when you do them day in, day out, they get a bit repetitive, boring, monotonous, and for me personally it's hard to follow them, especially when you aren't seeing progress. What allows you to stick at it is that you do not know if the person that you interact with through your marketing has planted a seed, and you won't know if you planted the seed but someone might come along and harvest at some point in the future, which gives you that little bit of extra accountability, because if you have a realistic target of contacting, for me with LinkedIn for example, it might be we want to send out 100 connection requests per week. We don't know which one of those LinkedIn connects that we connect with that we've planted a seed in today that might blossom at some point in the future, whether it's through us or through someone else. So it certainly gives you that accountability to push towards your business KPIs, because you have that responsibility and that obligation to hit your targets just in case. And then in the pursuit of Christ-likeness as well, as it says in Proverbs, that I'll butcher the verse, but it says, the beginning of all wisdom starts with fear of the Lord. Well, what does that kind of mean? So, fear of the Lord is what gives you accountability to actually achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. And if you implement the light framework that I've created, you have your eternal vision in who you're becoming. You then create long-term tangible goals based on your eternal vision, which is based on influence and also revenue targets as well, because you need money to operate, but making money is not the main priority. You bring your long-term goals down into something you can focus on, which is a 3-year goal. You break your 3-year goal down into a 1-year goal, your 1-year goal down into quarterly goal, quarterly into monthly, monthly into weekly, weekly into daily. So you then know exactly what you need to do in your business every day to make progress towards your long-term goal. And you have accountability, because of you don't know if you're planting seeds, and you won't know what will happen if they will grow or what they'll become. So you have that accountability to hit your targets. And fear of the Lord is what gives you intrinsic motivation, because, well, if you've set these goals and you basically given yourself this big mission to do, or more, maybe I should rephrase, if you believe that God has given you this big mission and vision to pursue and achieve, well, you want to go at it 100%, and that's where you get your internal motivation, because you know you're doing it for God, and you know that God sees you doing it even if nobody else does, which gives you that accountability to do the work. When you apply daily light, where you make your decisions out of love, integrity, generosity and gratitude, humble service and transformative excellence and efficiency, you also align your daily actions with who you are becoming, with hitting your business goals and KPIs. The bottom line is that when you prioritize the person that you're going to become, you're going to have a bigger kingdom impact, you're going to be more motivated internally, you're going to have more accountability to do the things that you need to do, and ultimately, by having this system in place where you align your long-term and moment-to-moment goals with who you're becoming, you're turning your actions and habits into an automatic process where you build on it, you get better. The more and more people you influence, the more your business is going to grow and the more success that you'll find that you have. Okay, that's all. See you next time.